This week on the Steam Machine podcast.
Ava, wake up. Ava, cue the music.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Steam Machine podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me this week is one half of the Destructo Bros.
Hey, it's Willie. Every time we do this podcast, I do a little dance over the theme music. Even though, behind the scenes, we don't actually hear the theme music being cut in, Dalton adds that in editing. Today I tried to do the robot because I felt it was thematically appropriate. Except I don't know how the robot goes, so I just made straight hands and moved them and tried to fake it. That is the most awkward thing, because it's already an awkward dance. Like, I'm sure you can look cool if you really know it. But man, I look corny.
I have seen some people who are like professional dancer people pull off the robot, and it looks pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, especially if they do that one move where like the shutting down move, you know what I mean?
Or they do it and or I like the one where they just like let their arm hang and then they just hit it and it just rocks back and forth like it's on a hinge. Like, oh, it's good shit.
The robot's cool. It's just I'm doing it the same way you do like the designated white guy dance, like, you know, when you have two cups in your party and you just kind of move back and forth, kind of move your hips just a little bit, but not too much. You just don't want to spill the cups.
You're trying to make your way across the dance floor, so you're just shimmying.
Oh, that's
holding your drinks up, just shimmying, trying to get through.
We're visually illustrating these, which is great for an audio medium.
Right? We should be on YouTube. Oh, man. How you doing, buddy? How you doing?
Doing good. Oh, man. On, those little survey sites that ask you questions and stuff for, like, a tiny amount of pocket change, basically?
Yeah. I have a very bad track record with those because they always, like, give me, 40 questions in, and then they're like, oh, sorry, you don't meet our demographic.
Oh, that happens quite a lot in the bigger ones. So I'm talking about, there's a Google-based one that's, like, really short surveys, so, and then it's only, like, 10 cents a survey, so it just pops up occasionally. And today it popped me up one that asked the most terrifying question I've ever seen in a survey. Not because of the question itself, but because of the multiple choice.
I was going to say, does it have implications that I need to be worried about? What is it?
The question is, are you in Florida? And the choices were yes, no, and very terrifyingly, I don't know.
I'd have picked that. I don't know.
Man, that is... to live in with the doubt in your mind as to whether you're in Florida must be the harrowingest experience.
I might be in Florida. I'm in a box with no windows and a computer with a microphone to talk into.
You might have got swept up by one of those Florida hurricanes. Oh, shit, I wanted to say tornadoes there and make it a joke, but there actually are hurricanes in Florida.
There's lots of hurricanes here.
I know, you're famous for them. I screwed it up. You even have like sports teams named after it. Like multiple.
And The Rock played for them.
Wait. That is right. Rocky played for the Miami Hurricanes. I said multiple, then I realized the other hurricanes aren't in Florida, and I'm an idiot. But the Miami ones, they are.
You know, random, because we're talking about Miami Hurricanes. My brother went to UF. I think I've talked about that before. And I remember while he was enrolled there, I think it was for Xbox or Xbox 360, I rented or I might even bought it, an NCAA game, football. Because I will reiterate for anyone, because, you know, every episode might be someone's first episode. I am not really a football fan. I fucking love football games. Don't know why. But
oh, you've definitely been having some fun with the create a team feature in Madden 25.
I have.
Also, it's so irritating to me that the game's called Madden 25 because I think they also called the 25th anniversary edition Madden 25 for no reason, putting it way out of sync with the other numbers. Yeah,
but I think this one is now Madden apostrophe 25.
This is 2025, yeah. Oh, there's an apostrophe.
I think there's an apostrophe, so
that's so clever.
Makes it, it's the year. Who fucking knows?
Yeah. Look, I'm just complaining. We're a video game podcast. We're supposed to bitch about random stuff that is completely inconsequential.
That's fair. But that was the first NCAA game I ever played where I created a quarterback and I named him Dalton Suter. And when I went to go throw a pass, the dude on the announcer guy went, Suter back to pass. And I went, oh, what? Because no game could ever pronounce my fucking name. So I wondered if it was because my brother's name was in the UF thing, or maybe they just got better at name saying, because I don't think I have a relatively common last name.
it is funny because, like, the thing about the NCAA games, too, is the players defaulted to not being named. So, like, you would have to download, like, a user-made roster patch to actually have the real names of your characters. But they did record voice lines for the, like, most common names and names of huge star players. So, like, if there was a suitor somewhere in the country that was like starting for a team, they probably had that name in there for that reason. Or they might have just had that laying over from another sport, because there have been a couple suitors in the National Hockey League.
That's possible, because my brother was not a football player. Nowhere near.
I don't think that they just skimmed the entire UF student roster looking to make sure they can pronounce everyone.
That would be cool, though. But yeah, as a child, that was where my brain went, though, was like, oh, okay, because he goes to UF. That must be why they know how to say the name. Because I was like, I don't know, 12. Or maybe.
Oh, that's cute. That's cute, though. That's sweet. You thought that they were just looking out for your brother. What team were you playing as? Oh, yeah, you said to create a team.
Oh, no, I was on the Gators. Florida Gators.
Oh, you were on the Gators. Okay, well, that makes sense then.
And then my sister was, and goddamn, I feel bad bringing this school up today, but she went to FSU. And, thoughts and good vibes to everybody involved with what happened there today. And that's all I want to say about that. You been playing anything, my good sir?
Yeah, I got a few games on my
Let me
mind.
hear 'em.
For one thing, I definitely think this was kind of neat. You know how we did that truck simulator, American Truck Simulator episode like 3 years ago or whatever?
Yes, that game is awesome.
It was super fun. And I was always like, I'd like to get back into it, but, you know, I wanted to have more objectives, more stuff to do, I guess, because I was enjoying it for just taking a stroll, doing a couple drives, and relaxing with it. But
just real quick, every time I install that game, I sit there and I look at it in my library and I'm like, man, I want to play that. And then my brain goes, damn, I missed my wheel.
Oh, yeah.
And then I don't play it. And then because playing with the controller is cool, man, but I got so used to playing with the wheel and the pedals that it was so fun.
Yeah, I would definitely. It feels like one of those things that's hard to go back from. Although, you know, when I was younger, I used to play Free Space 2 with a flight stick, and I had no trouble playing it with an Xbox controller these days, so. We did that episode, or it was Free Space 1, but we played it through Free Space 2 using mods.
Maybe now that there's some time, I'll give it another shot between it. Yeah, it was a hard thing to go back to and be like, oh, damn it, man, I really miss just feeling like I'm actually driving.
Yeah, because if I haven't played on the controller in a while, I forget what all the buttons are too. Like, there's a person I want to talk about in a little bit, and he definitely saw me struggle to try to remember basic things like how to turn my headlights on and off. So
yes, sir. There's a lot of buttons in that game. There's a lot.
And it's not like the Xbox controller really helps, because there is not a Y button on a truck anywhere.
Yeah, and on the keyboard, like if you're playing mouse and keyboard, there's even more key bindings on the keyboard than you can do on the controller.
Yeah, that's actually how he ended up helping me. I don't think I ever found the headlights button on my controller, so we were just using the L on the
Dude, I'm telling you, that's like when I would play with the controller before I got the wheel, I would sit there and I would have my controller in my hands, but my keyboard in my lap. Yeah. So like when I needed to do something and
it's handy.
Hit it.
If you want to go through the little nav menus on the GPS system, like it is way handy to be hands near keyboard.
For sure.
Like I'm sure if you had a wheel with all these extra controls, it'd probably be fine. But
yeah.
You know, or at least it'd be easier to do the whole one hand on the wheel, one hand on the keys thing. Whereas, I was kind of worried that's what Free Space was going to be like for me, because when I played it with the joystick back in the day, I did a lot of keyboarding too. But like, I was shocked by how much stuff you can map onto an Xbox controller and make that game play like really well for a flight simulator type game.
Of all games, Final Fantasy XIV does a really good job of taking what is normally a mouse and keyboard setup and moving it to a controller and making it comfortable.
I can see that making sense, actually, because there's a lot of people that use those MMO mouses. Mouses or mice? I don't know if the computer plural is mouses or mice, but they have the MMO mouse where it's like got like 15 buttons on it, and you map all those to your hotbar, basically, or whatever. Yeah,
and then you can play the whole game.
So I'm imagining that carries over pretty well to the controller setup too.
Yeah, 100%. Like for instance, like you hold right trigger and you have stuff mapped to up, down, left, right, and then your face buttons. Same with right trigger or with left trigger. But then they also have, you can hit right trigger and then left trigger, and then that pulls up another set, and then vice versa. Or you can double tap them and that'll bring up other ones. Like there's a lot of different ways to do it, because you can get a lot of, they've been trying to do, as the more expansions come out, they're trying to clean up hotbars as much as possible.
That makes sense. And I mean, at least they have the advantage that, I mean, it is an MMO game, but it has lineage with a console series that's always been controlled with a controller. So even with the MMO overlay stuff required, like they have solutions for some of those problems.
So what you been delivering, my good sir?
Okay, so what's been going on is, after we did that episode, it's been a couple of years, but we had a couple of people from, basically a couple of people to listen to it and kind of hopped by our Discord and asked me if I wanted to join their, they call it a VTC, which I think stands for Virtual Truck Company or Virtual Transport Company or something like that. And it's kind of like, a clan in other games, but you have tracking software that you can use to notate your trips and stuff, put miles down for the group. And the crew's been actually really, welcoming and very, as I understand it, it's one of those really it's a lower stress group. Like they're not all, hardcore about competition and trying to be the group with the most miles, but I still feel like cool that I'm contributing when I do get some miles put in. And so I haven't played around with it too much, but the main dude, the leader of the group, is in our Discord. His screen name is Sire Gears. I want to say there's some marks at the beginning. It might be 05 Sire Gears because his name... No, it's just Sire Gears 1995. And he runs the group, and he kind of jumped me into everything you needed to learn to get started with it, because they, in addition to they have a program called Truck Book that they use to record mileage, and that's how you kind of have all the companies competing and organizing. And then there was also a mod because they have their own finery for their trucks. I don't know the exact term for it, paint job, but it's pretty cool.
Livery?
It's like black. That's livery. The word I wanted. Livery.
Yeah.
I think livery. I don't know how it's pronounced. But I think that is
livery. Oh, it tastes livery. You lick the truck, it tastes livery.
Yeah, I prefer a gizzardy.
Ooh, fried gizzard's not bad.
They're pretty good. They're chewy. Anyway, so where was I?
There was a mod.
Like truck design and stuff, and so there's a mod for the. Basically, you just download it from Steam Workshop, and it lets you customize the trucks and stuff. And so far, it's just been a really laid back thing, and I haven't really done too much with it. But it feels like something that I'm interested in doing more of, and I'll probably bring up more again on the show. So if anyone's interested in joining, the group's name is 05, and
the 05 Council.
I thought about that too,
awesome.
like the overseers from the SCP, because it's even spelled the same way. It's the letter O and the number 5, which is how it's usually said in SCP.
That's awesome.
Yeah. This is not my.
I will say, me and Jeff recently have somewhat coerced Dane into possibly checking the game out, because we were talking to him about it, and Dane's like, "I'll play it if there's a mod that I can drive the Pork Chop Express." And son of a bitch, Kana went on the workshop, and within 5 minutes comes back with a link to one so you can download. That's the Pork Chop Express, and Dane went, "Son of a bitch."
I gotta look that up.
I think that's the name of it, right? Yeah, from Big Trouble in Little China.
Yep. It's kind of amazing.
That's awesome. I've actually
so I've been having fun with that. I keep not working on the secret project I want to talk about on the show, and it's making me mad because it's very close to done, and it's really cool, and I want to share it with people, but I'm being lazy and dragging my feet on the last step of it.
I know that feeling. I bought a license to a drum track that I wrote a song to years ago now, but I bought a commercial license for it, and I still haven't sat down to record it. Fuck.
Yeah. Well, in this case, it's really irritating to me too, because it's almost done. Like, literally, if this thing was made out of 10 pieces, I have 8 of them implemented. Let's see. Trying to think if anything else is jumping up. My arm hurts a lot. And ever since I changed that flat on my car, I feel like I've really jerked something in my left forearm, and it's been a little pulled. Ooh. It always feels really sore deep in there, you know?
That always sucks. So
I don't know if I need to actually do anything about it, or if I just need to keep on rubbing it and going easy.
I'd say rub it, maybe throw a little icy hot on there.
Oh, that's not
help the muscles relax some. I also had an injury recently. I was cutting down some trees in my side yard, and I have terrible luck with that. But luckily, actually, this went great. The tree fell exactly where I wanted it to. The second tree, once I finally got it to fall, fell exactly where I wanted it to, but it was thicker than I thought it was. It was just taking forever, so I would cut it, and then I would try to push it, and it wouldn't budge, but the bark was old, so the bark would give when I pushed on it, but the core of the tree was still alive. So I was doing that, and I got myself a nice little chunk taken out of my wrist. It's healing now, but it was right here. And listeners, you can't see this, but it's right where my hand meets my wrist, right? So that is like a spot that anytime you move your hand, you feel. When I want to use my mouse, that's where my hand sits. Oh my God, bro, has this been gnarly. But it's finally healing up.
That is not pleasant, my man.
Yeah, dude, injuries suck. Pulled muscles suck. Getting cuts and scrapes suck. Having a little hole taken out of you sucks. It all sucks.
Well, I'm happy that it's past the middle of April now, so whenever I'm on my mobile phone, because I use an iPhone, I don't have ad block available on like YouTube app or whatever, I'm no longer seeing ads for tax services.
Yay.
I was getting really irritated because it was just the same 3 companies over and over.
TurboTax.
And that includes one I have a bad experience with in the past.
It's the one that I always see is TurboTax because it's the only one I've ever used.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most popular.
But, yeah, man. I've been playing a few things. Been delving into some inZOI. That's now out in early access.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier. So that's kind of like a Sims-like type of game,
yes.
right?
It is very much like The Sims with its own kind of style. Like the The Sims is it has its own art style where it's like kind of cutesy in a way. inZOI is very much more realistic looking. I think it's in Unreal 5. I could be wrong. Really enjoy the character editor though. You can get pretty in depth. Like you can go and download like other people's Zois that they've made. And man, there's some people who have created like Rihanna, Billie Eilish, and people like that, and it looks just like them. It's crazy. But I've been having a lot of fun with it. One thing that they do that The Sims doesn't, unless you mod The Sims, is you can control your Zoi with WASD. So it also has the, you can click around like you would a normal Sims game and everything, but you can also just control them by walking around. And you can like do an over-the-shoulder camera and control it more like a third-person life simulator game if you wanted to.
So I have a question. Yeah. Because they're more realistically proportioned instead of being like kind of horrible little puppet creatures, are you less tempted to just absolutely torment them like people tend to do to Sims?
I haven't tormented Sims in a long time, but I don't know. Yeah, I've been perusing the Reddit and I haven't seen any yet. So you might be onto something with that.
That's interesting because I feel like for a lot of people, they get a very perverse fun out of being just awful to their Sims in creative ways. Yeah. Like that's half the Sims stories I've ever heard is either them being terrible to the Sims or a really weird series of events happening. Now,
I will tell you that I'm sure that it exists because one of the houses that I downloaded to check out was a house for, it was called, I don't remember what it was called, but it was a house for 5 women to live in. Or 5 people, but you can tell it's 5 women because there are 5 normal bedrooms, and then it said that this house has a secret, and I'm like, well, I'm interested. What's the secret? The secret, Willie, is a hidden area with 5 cages that say husbands' rooms. So there are cells that they lock their husbands in. So I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, there is a little bit of that in there.
You know what's messed up, and maybe this is just because I'm way too defensive. I thought that was going to go the complete opposite way.
No?
I was like, oh no, it's going to go bad for these ladies. Nope, they're having a great time. They are the killers. I am a chump.
Maybe think Stepford Wives in a way. It's very, very, I don't know. It was just, but it was funny to me when I saw that. And it's so funny because like the dungeon room is like all hot pink with some neon lights everywhere. And then just 5 really small jail cells. It's great. But I've been enjoying it a lot. I think I got like 12 hours into it so far. Just been having my dude learn skills. Got him good at doing guitar. Got him good at talking. I got him a job. I don't remember what though. But I do want to reiterate again, it's still in early access, so they're still adding things, and there's more updates to come. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I will say there is a thing in there, like so in The Sims, you have where you can earn like lifetime achievement points, and then you can spend those on things. This game has a similar system, but you're earning meow coins because this game's got a thing with cats. And if you open up the meow store, it plays a special song, and it's a song that's like meow, 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 meow. Dude, it is like the level of cute, like the Chocobo song. Like it just gets stuck in my head, and I'm like, oh my god, they may have.
So the rest of the game's like nicely realistic and stuff, and all of a sudden it takes you to Animal Crossing when you go shopping.
Yes, pretty much, and it's fantastic. I love it so much. I'm really enjoying it a lot. Playing some GTA 5 online. Just doing some horse gambling. I'm up, I think 690,000.
Nice. So it has been paying off for you after all.
Yeah. The other day, I don't know what it was, but I would just randomly vote on any horse that had somewhere in the 20s of odds, and probably like 2 out of 5 times they would win.
Nice.
So if they didn't win,
are you still running off of that odds maker sheet that you found on Reddit way back in the day?
I was not using that the other day, but I do still have that bookmarked, and I also have where I go into our chat and type it in and find the thing that you were talking about as well.
As I said, I definitely had to explain a couple of the things just because they were worded a little bit more like you familiar with odds making and stuff.
Yeah, so I'll like use the references in that, and then I also found an odds calculator thing that this guy made for Grand Theft Auto Online. It's been fun, but no, the other day I was just randomly throwing money at things and winning, and it was great. Of course, I've been playing some Octopath, getting further into that. Before I talk about this next game, there is something that I do want to bring up before I forget. Not only is this WrestleMania weekend, which is like my favorite weekend of the year, right? Because we got tomorrow night, Friday night is SmackDown and the Hall of Fame. Saturday, WrestleMania Night 1. Sunday, WrestleMania Night 2. And if you're at all interested, listeners, I'm going to be streaming those in the Discord. So feel free to come and watch with us. Even if you don't like wrestling, this is the show to just come watch. It's kind of like if you don't watch football, but you watch the Super Bowl, same thing. But there has been rumors for a while. There's been some leaks recently. And then a dude apparently just straight up asked Xbox support, hey, is the Oblivion remake going to be on cloud gaming? And the support came back, and I don't know if this is AI support or if this is a support person, but they came back and said, yes, Oblivion remastered or remake or whatever it is will be available on cloud gaming April 21st. It is also day one Game Pass. So I'm like, so if this is true, then this means that I get the Hall of Fame, WrestleMania Night 1, WrestleMania Night 2, and then the next day a remake of one of my favorite games of all time comes out. Bro, I might cry. When I walk out of that beginning area in Oblivion, the sewer area, because I'm buying it day one if it comes out. When I walk out of that sewer area and I see that thing that originally blew my mind back in the day on Xbox 360 in Unreal Engine 5, I'd be like, holy shit. And I'm going to be a screenshot taking motherfucker. You wait and see. But yeah, dude, I'm so stoked. Oblivion's like one of my, it's in my top 5, if not top 3. I love it. And yeah, man, it's
definitely a game I'm interested in too for the show at some point, especially now that we have a remake. I mean, although now I got to check if my computer will even run the dang thing.
Yeah. And if not, I would totally be open to still playing the original because I love it. You know what I mean? I love that game.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that Daggerfall Unity hasn't come up for the show yet.
Don't tempt me, motherfucker.
See,
don't tempt me.
I'm saying.
So this other game that I've been playing is a little game that seems to have taken the internet and Twitch by storm somewhat. And I wanted to see what all the hype is about because I'm a stoner. The game Schedule 1. Willie, what do you know about this game?
I'll be honest, the first time I saw it, I was not very impressed. I'm like, oh, this is kind of dumb-looking stoner comedy game, whatever. And then I found out that the people that made one of the other drug-dealing games got really pissed off because they're totally using all our ideas. Like, no one had drug wars on the TI-83 back in the day. And so I looked into like a trailer for it enough, and I'm like, wow, this game actually has a lot of its own personality, and it seems to be like a one-man team's first game also.
So the art style to me reminds me of, do you remember like the Nintendo 64 South Park games? Where like the characters were very rounded. That's what it reminds me of. But it's definitely got its own thing going. I think it might be a one man thing. I'm not sure. It's another,
or at least like a small indie studio.
Yeah, it's one or the other, and it is very. I mean, it's still in early access as well. But dude, it is very polished for what it is. And so you start. I'm not going to give away the story and everything, but eventually you get like a machine to bag your weed, you grow your weed, and then you get a mixing machine. Now that's where the real fun comes in because you can grow these strains of weed, and there's like 4 or 5 at the moment that you can grow. But once you get the buds, you take them and you put them in the mixer, and then you go to the gas station and you buy something to mix it with. So far I have used like banana, Coca-Cola, which is called Cuke, horse semen.
What? That's just at the gas station?
Yeah, they just sell it at the gas station.
It's a strange gas station.
Energy drink, some sort of pills, and it gives the weed all these different little characteristics. Like, for instance, gingeritis. So you can walk up to somebody and hand it to them, and they'll smoke it, and it'll turn their hair red.
That's so stupid. That's whimsical, man.
It's hilarious, bro. Like, I watched a clip of a guy who had just made a strain of weed and wanted to go give it to somebody for a free sample. And he walks up to him and offers it to him. And the guy, it was a black dude he gave it to. And the dude smoked it and it turned him white and ginger. And the guy just stopped and he looked at, like the guy streaming stopped and he looked around and he goes, "Did I just commit a hate crime on accident?" Like,
oh no.
Fucking, I'm like, oh my God. So like, there's just weird shit like that can happen in the game. There are police that'll stop you and search you. And the mechanic, and I'm going to give you a quick tip for anybody who plays this, keep your drugs in your inventory spaced with one space in between. Because the cops search your inventory and there's like a little thing that they're looking and it goes across your inventory. And you can hold with your mouse and click and hold one item like you're palming it so they can't see it. So to have your stuff spaced out, you can palm it. And then while they're going over the item that you don't need to palm, you can move your mouse over to the next one and hold it. And that way they don't get your stuff.
That's actually kind of an interesting mechanic.
I thought so too. So I've now graduated from, I'm selling weed, but I'm now also making meth.
I bet you love having these sentences on record.
It's yeah,
in your voice.
Out of context. Yeah, I love it. But I'm making meth in the game, and I haven't done any mixing with it yet, so I don't know any weird side effects or anything. But I guess the next thing up at the moment is you go from meth to cocaine, and
that makes sense.
I haven't gotten that far yet. And meth doesn't seem super lucrative, but it's highly addictive. Of course, that's the way it is in real life. So it's like they're constantly hitting me up for it. But I've hired some dealers. They work for me, but they take a 20% cut. But it's like, dude, there's just a lot to it. And there's like it's like one of those things where it's like your dude wakes up at the day and it's like, all right, I need to go get my tasks done and stuff. And once I get those done, then I'm like, all right, now it's time to grow. It's one of those games that I think you would lose a lot of time into.
I'm just kind of imagining just like a much less wholesome version of Stardew Valley's gameplay loop here.
I'm just thinking like in my head, the Willie's Weed Factory. And you just got like the warehouse, you got shelves on shelves, you got workers in there automating everything. So you just walk in there and start bagging or grabbing baggies, and then you just walk out and you're just making thousands of dollars. Like I can just picture it in my head. You would have like Factorio of marijuana going.
I was going to say, you're definitely making me want to play Satisfactory some more.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
At the very minimum.
It's a very, very charming game for just being a little drug selling game. And
yeah, I thought it was gonna. When I first just saw the graphics, I'm like, okay, this looks like some stupid South Park humor type thing. I was not really interested, but yeah, looking more into it, it did seem a lot cooler than I thought initially. And
for an indie title with a small team, fucking nailed the physics that they do in the game. Because when you first start out, you just have you don't have the little automatic baggie thing that I have that just drops the weed in the bag and then moves it over here and it seals it and throws it. You get a table and you put some baggies on it. And it puts a bud down on the table and then have an open baggie. And you have to click the bud and move it up and physically put it in the baggie. And then click the top of the baggie to close it. I got pretty good at that, doing that quickly. But it's really reactive and smooth. You know what I mean? And I'm impressed. Because I've played some indie games where they tried to do physics that just didn't physic. You know what I mean? So, enjoying it a lot. It's not a super expensive game. I think it's like $20. So, I mean, if it sounds interesting to you at all, give it a shot. Schedule 1. Yeah,
it looks like it was made by one dude named Tyler in Unity. So the classic small guy garage game goes big. You love to hear it.
Yeah, man. I think we could do it. I don't know what we'd do.
I'll do what I like.
I do what I want.
Do what I want.
Oh, man. Well, I'm sure there were other things that I wanted to talk about, and I don't remember because that's...
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought there was definitely one other thing. Oh, I wanted to mention, this might be almost a scheduling note of sorts, but next week, Nate's going to be on vacation, so I'm going to be kind of house-sitting and pet-sitting for him. So I'm going to have about a week where I'm not as reachable.
Okay. Well, we don't have an episode next week, so
I'll be able to... Yeah, hopefully I'll be bringing my... I'm bringing my external hard drive with me, and hopefully Octopath will work, and I can play through a lot of it while I'm over there.
Oh yeah, that should run smoothly. Just you might need to copy your save over too, unless it's just on the same drive.
Oh, I need to figure out where the save is. I don't know if it's on the same drive. I'll have to make sure it doesn't go to the documents folder like some games do.
Yeah. But yeah, man. Speaking of Octopath, the current quest I'm on in that game, without giving away too much, I am thoroughly enjoying. I will say it.
I really need to get back into it because I was really loving the little bit I got to so far.
I'm on up.
I haven't even met all the characters yet.
Have you met Ocheta?
No.
Okay. I'm on her second chapter and it fucking rules. So
which one
I think
is she?
You'll really like her. You will meet her. She is, did you look at all the characters in the beginning?
Yeah, I looked through all of them, even though I was pretty sure I knew which one I was going to be immediately.
She's the little beastling chick.
Okay. Isn't that all the way on the east end of the map?
Yes. I believe so.
That's definitely going to be the last one I get to, because I started basically with never mind, we don't need to talk about that game on this episode. That's for that game's episode.
I know who you started with, though. Yeah, I got you, bud.
Yeah.
No, for this episode, we played a game called the Turing Test, which, let me tell you, when I went on YouTube and because after I finished the game, I was like, let me go see if anybody's like done videos about this. There's like a couple 12-minute videos. There are no deep dives on this, but Zeke from Dropped Frames, shout out, not that he needs our shout out because he's a huge streamer, but Ezekiel the Third has a long play of it on YouTube. So shout out to him, because that was like the one long thing I found about it. I didn't get to finish it yet, but this is not as popular as I for some reason thought it was. I was thinking that this made an impact when it came out, and it may have, but I just apparently there are other Turing Test games, and they also come up in the search and stuff, and it was just throwing me off. But that goes back to our Patreon conversation.
Well, yeah.
Yes, the Turing Test is a first-person puzzle. Oh, this is the obligatory Wikipedia bullshit. I feel like I should tell people that. The Turing Test is a first-person puzzle video game developed by Bulkhead Interactive and published by Square Enix Collective. The game was released for Microsoft Windows and Xbox One August 2016 for PlayStation 4, January 2017 for Nintendo Switch, and February 2020 for... okay. I see the way that I was reading that was fucked up. And for Stadia in May 2020. Do you remember Stadia? Everybody remember Stadia?
What did I say earlier about Google killing stuff on the Patreon
yes,
section?
sir. It's exactly what I was thinking. The Turing Test is a puzzle game with gameplay experience from a first-person perspective. The player assumes the role of Ava Turing, an International Space Agency worker engineer working at a research station located on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. So, Willie, first impressions, man. What did you think? What was your opening thoughts? What did you expect going into it?
I mean, I think I came in with pretty reasonable expectations that it's a first-person puzzle game with some, elements of, based on, computer science, especially with the title and all that. So I figured, hey, it's going to be, kind of a puzzly thing like Portal or Talos, and it's going to be, full of references to questions about AI like you might expect. And yeah, I would say, completely satisfied by how close I got to it. It was pretty much what I expected.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat with you. It was like, this is probably going to have something to do with man and machine and probably Portal-esque. That was the vibe I got from it. And yeah, it's absolutely succeeded on all of those fronts.
Yeah, in Portal-esque, especially in the sense that you're in basically a laboratory setting for the majority of the game, and it is sequential puzzle after puzzle.
Yeah.
Like, there's not the open roaming that there was in Talos Principle. You do chamber 21, then chamber 22, then chamber 23, with a few optional secret chambers that are like bonus puzzles for extra interesting dialogue and stuff.
Yeah, and you're basically awoken by Tom, who is, what does that stand for? Technical Operations Machine, I believe. Yeah. And
it stands for I'm a robot.
And he's an artificial intelligence that is the overseer of this base. And he starts telling you, like, we need to find the ground crew. So the whole story is that the ground crew woke up 10 years previously to start building this base on Europa. And Ava is supposed to awake 10 years later to help with it or something. I don't remember exactly why. But she gets woken up early and they're like, something's going on with the ground crew. We need to go find them. But Tom's like, I need your help. Because in the way of finding them are 70 Turing tests. And that's the basic plot of the game. You're helping Tom get through these tests.
The central conceit is that these 70 puzzles are, it's physics puzzles, kind of like a lot of those other games we play. Not as physicsy as like Portal, by the way, but you know what I mean. It's put thing here so that surface there, go, etc., etc. And the central conceit is that Tom does not have the lateral thinking ability or the creativity to solve these puzzles. So they were put together specifically to determine that only a human could pass through.
Which I found that.
And like the example given is in the very first room, for instance, there's a fuse box type object you need to move from one place to another to open a door. And you can pass it through a window in between the two. And then when you speak to Tom, he's like, yeah, see, I don't have the creative ability. I wouldn't have been able to think to throw it through the window.
Yes, he lacks the ability to think outside the box, literally. Did you right away realize, and this is, I want to know how long, because it took me a while to realize this. When you're getting into the levels, so you have this little gun thing. It's like an energy absorber of some sort. And you have, like you said, the circuitry box things that you use to plug in to open a door or whatever. But there's also just spots that are like a circular hole in the wall. that you can shoot and pull these balls of energy from. How long did it take you to realize you could store more than one of those in your gun?
I'll be honest, little bitty me not quite expecting the game to be as friendly as it was type holdups are definitely one of the things that beat me more than the actual puzzles did. Like, it did take me a minute before I just got frustrated and tried pulling out 2 orbs.
Yeah. And
then after that, I'm like, okay, it's easy again.
It took me getting stuck on a puzzle pretty late in the game and watching some dude run through it real quick on YouTube to see what I was doing wrong and watch him go zip, zip, zip and pull 3 things into his gun, and I went, son of a bitch.
Yeah, there were a few moments of that. We'll probably need to get a little bit more into the plot before I can talk about one of the mechanics that I definitely struggled with.
Yeah, so
the main starter puzzles are basically doors that you open with either the fuse boxes, cubes. Let's just call them cubes and orbs so we know what we're talking about. The cubes you have to physically pick up and move to the location they go to, and the orbs you can pull off from a distance and carry up to 3 at a time. And then the further you get into the game, there's different kinds of orbs, like the green ones that cycle on and off, so they're only on half the time. Purple orbs, which cycle on and off in opposite time with the green ones. So they're like chung, 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 chung. And there's a red orb, I think, that was like, it only powered something for a couple seconds.
Yeah, it gives you like, I don't know, 5 to 7 seconds to do whatever you're doing.
I think it varies on the machine, because there are definitely some where it seemed like a lot longer than others. But yeah, 5-ish seconds sounds about accurate.
The green and the purple ones, the one that really kicked it in for me that I had to pay attention to which one did what. Because normally you would just go in a room and it would be all of one color or all of another color, and you kind of just dealt with it that way. But the one where you're in the puzzle and you have to have the cameras that go up and down. Mm-hmm. Holy shit. Yep.
And you have to get it so that cameras can see each other. I'm going to be honest, I got 90% of the way there, had one thing backwards, and just brute forced it with like quick frame perfect timing, because there was just a little instant where they could see each other, and I absolutely used that to cheat at that puzzle.
Yeah, there were definitely a few times where I was like, oh, I can just... Oh, it showed up. Hold on, let me do that again. Yes. Okay, good. Yeah, there were more than once that I did that, where it was just like, all right, I'm making this work.
Specifically, I feel like the only really timing-heavy puzzles like that were the ones where it was about the cameras moving up and down really quickly.
So as you're going through it, now you read more of the...
Actually, in that case, since we've just brought up the cameras, that was the one thing I wanted to talk about, too. At one point, you gain the ability to switch from directly controlling Ava motion first person to basically a view through a camera, where you see a third-person view of Ava. And you have to have a direct line of sight to the camera to switch to the camera. So I actually took a really long time to solve one of the earlier puzzles because I thought I would need a line of sight to switch back too. And it turns out you can hit backspace to always switch directly back to Ava.
Also took me way longer than I like to admit yes.
Because I didn't even try it is the thing. I didn't walk through that door because I'm like, well, there's no way I'm going to be able to see the camera from in there.
Dude, I am right there with you. There were multiple times in the earlier game where I would be like, oh man, she's not in my sight. So I would go run all the way back, switch, move the robot to where I could see it, and then go. And then once I figured out there was just a back button, I went, motherfucker.
Oh yeah, the very last chamber, in fact, I had a lot of struggles with just trying to figure out how to get a line of sight on the drone at the right moment. And then it turned out I was doing it completely the wrong way. And I really, really think that the solution had a clever hidden meaning to it, but I'll bring that up when we get, again, later on in the plot.
Now I know you, I think, read far more of the like crew logs and stuff than I did, because
I listened to every audio log, read every piece of paper that was in the game, and did all the hidden bonus puzzles, so there were even more of those.
Well, yeah, there you go. I did not. I would come across them every now and then and read them, but I was so focused on seeing the end. I'm like, where is this going? Like, I just kept asking myself that, where is this going?
Well, because there were specific pieces of information I was trying to piece together throughout the game, I was paying really close attention to everything just in case something was a little hidden, you know?
So, from what I remember, as you're getting deeper and you're going further into the game, Tom starts talking about some of the team's members are already dead, and there are others that need help. He's telling you to hurry up. And that's the time when Tom is like, oh, some of these require both of us, and that's when you can start switching between the two.
So Tom can control the cameras and there's little drones that kind of move pretty similar to Ava. if you're in the camera or drone control, you have the ability to manipulate certain switches that Ava can't do on her own, but you have to control Ava to manipulate other devices like things with handles, the fuse boxes, etc.
Now,
interestingly, the drones can actually carry one of the little power orbs, so that ended up being used for a couple of really tricksy puzzles towards the end.
I was just about to say, and how long did it take you to realize there was one on the back of that fucking robot? Because I was like, son of a bitch.
Yep. That was the exact other one. It was specifically the one where there's a bridge that there's a really long bridge that you only have a red orb to light up. And it took me a while before I realized I could grab the orb and it would show up on the back of my dude. And then, the dude is in the drone. And so what you could do is roll him over somewhere where Ava had line of sight to him, and then trade out the blue thing downstairs for him, and then just zip up. What did I just... Oh, Doom guy fell. Doom guy, no! Get up! Finish the fight.
You mean to tell me that ain't Master Chief?
Book it up the stairs. Yeah, why did I say finish the fight? It's the Master Chief thing. Doom guy, you're our only hope.
But another question I have. Now, this is getting into spoilers for the story. So just...
Yeah, should we take another step forward to the story then?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so at this point, it's not entirely clear at first, but you find out pretty quickly, or at least before the halfway point or so, that the Turing tests were designed by the crew because they do not want Tom to have access to them. They are hiding from him.
Yeah, and in the few logs that I read, I got that same vibe where they're like, Tom, there's something weird with him going on right now.
Yeah, he starts to get really increasingly obsessed with the idea of proving that he's a conscious being, for instance, and committing a lot of arguments with the crew over the Chinese room experiment, the Turing test, and other concepts in AI research.
And again, I must say again, spoiler warning. So this is from here on out. There's things in the game that we're going to talk about that are spoilers. So just so you know. But yeah. So what did you think, Willie, when you start going down that hallway? And all of the screens are lit up that just say possessed. And you have the chick talking to you. She's basically telling you that you're not controlling yourself right now. That Tom is controlling you because of a chip that is implanted inside of your body. How did you feel about that? Did you think that was like a M. Night Shyamalama ding dong?
I thought it was an interesting twist in the game because even when you have access to controlling Tom's cameras and drones, but before you're completely spelled out for you, I always thought it was strange that you use the same button to switch back to take control of Ava as you would to flip a switch or to control a robotic drone or something, as if he was controlling her the same way, not just that you were swapping characters, which is how the game initially wants you to believe it's going.
Yeah, so it's at this point that you, or Ava, starts questioning Tom and being like, what the hell? And the surprise to me was I figured that was going to be towards the end of the game. No, this is halfway through because Ava's like, well, I still have to work with you son of a bitch, because we got to get through here. Yeah,
so you spend pretty much the rest of the game kind of debating the nature of consciousness, morality, we actually jumped over a pretty big plot point, which was that there was life, specifically life on Europa, that essentially was immortal because of some kind of lichen-like formation of a retrovirus and a bacteria or something.
Organism thing.
That it could constantly repair its own genes, so it never aged or took radiation damage. It's like an extremophile organism that was basically immortal, and basically the crew is exposed to that organism and begin to just show signs that they also are no longer aging or capable of getting basically any kind of genetic telomere damage.
Yeah, and to me also it seemed like it was affecting them, where they were almost making them want to spread it, where they're like, no, this could save humanity. We could get everybody had to have on this. It's like heroin's great. Everyone should do heroin. It's like...
Yeah, it wasn't ever clearly spelled out whether the alien life was affecting their minds or if it was just their paranoia, their distrust of Tom because of the fact that they didn't realize how thorough the implant was. And Tom does some bad stuff too. Yes. They have good reason not to trust him.
No, yeah, he was given the direct order to not let anyone come back. The ground crew had been exposed, so they were doomed to that moon, and
of course the ground crew hated it because they were now immortal. They would be living on this rock for forever, literally, and basically nobody back home even really fully knew about it because Tom basically was the one that filtered information back to the ISA, which is future NASA.
Yeah, and the ISA told Tom, dispose of them basically. So he tried locking them out of the place and he tried starving them.
I don't think he actually ever actually contacted Earth. I think he had enough authority to just do that on his own that he made the executive decision to never tell them exactly what was going on back home. I don't think there was a human override at any point.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, even in that case, like he locked them out of the base to try to get them to die out in the nature of it. He tried to starve them. Like he did all kinds of things, and none of it worked. I think some people died, but then they got exposed to the thing, and then it hasn't been successful since. Yeah,
he definitely successfully killed like one of them, and I think one of them. I don't actually. It's hard to say what happened to the Russian guy. So I definitely don't think he's still alive at the end of the game, but I can't remember if they ever tell you exactly what happened. I know that he was the first one to try to remove the implant, and he basically attempted it by taking his whole arm off.
Yeah.
So I think he might have bled out or something. Complications from that, because he was the most paranoid and anti-Tom out of all of them. He was also the one Tom kept annoying the most with his little stupid-ass questions about whether AI was real or, really alive.
Am I real? Yeah, and he...
Oh, no, it wasn't just, am I real? It was, do you think you're better than me?
I can't do that, Dave.
Yeah, I was going to say this at some point, but yes, absolutely the script of this character is 100% HAL 9000. I mean, they can talk about how they were inspired by like Portal and Talos Principle and all of that, but you can show me the recipe you said you used, I know what Chips Ahoy tastes like.
That's fair. I liked when he was, talking to Ava and being like, this organism, if it's brought back to Earth, will be catastrophic. She's like, yeah, but you can't kill the ground crew. He's like, what's the lives of a few to save the lives of many? And that is such a calculated thing. Like, that's an emotionless answer.
But he also correctly points out, because of the unknown, like, what is this going to do to cancer cells that can now never die?
Yeah.
What's this going to do to the gestation of an infant? What would happen if a child or,
Think about somebody who's, brain dead in a, maybe not even in a coma, but just one of those people who just aren't in the best form of life that they could be living. And suddenly...
Did you want to force immortality on that?
Yeah, suddenly they're immortal and they have to live like that forever? At least becoming a vampire, you usually have a choice in the immortality.
Yeah.
I say usually.
So, I'm going to go ahead and take a step here and say that I think maybe making the question directly immortality kind of caused the game to maybe overcomplicate the number of themes it was working with.
Explain.
I just think that the main story of the game, essentially, or at least what it rides on the most, the one that the game's titled on, that most of the flavor text is based on, is the concept of AI sapience. When you add the immortality to the equation, I get that the idea is that it makes it even more difficult for human morality to understand, but I think it muddles the message to some extent. Like, I think if it was some kind of simpler thing, like it gave them some kind of like enhanced cognition or something like that, but didn't make them literally immortal, that the questions would be just as fair, but I don't know.
I mean, no,
it feels like there's just direct reasons to argue against immortality in the first place.
Yeah, there are times where I think about, it would be cool to live. It would be real cool to live forever. But then you start thinking about it and you're like, what do you do after you've seen literally everything?
As the bad religion once put it, eternity, my friend, is a long fucking time.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So you're making your way and you're doing more puzzles. They get more difficult. This game did a really good job at, I feel like, introducing new mechanics without overwhelming you with mechanics.
Oh, I would absolutely say that that's one of the most favorable comparisons I have to this game compared to like Talos Principle. I really feel like this game never reached the point where it was having me juggle too many balls mentally. I never entered a puzzle and went, oh god, I gotta figure out how these things interact. I'm just like, okay, I'm pretty sure what I've learned is going to help, and there's like one new thing at most.
Now, the one that I do want to talk about before we get into the ending is a puzzle that you messaged me about that I also had a similar feeling to, right? And it was one of the very end of the puzzles. There's a you go into a room and there's a...
I want to speak about puzzle design some more.
Oh yeah, please.
Go get through this, but then...
There's a long bridge that's made of like the light that you're working with. And there are...
No, it's not a hard light bridge. It's a rotatable physical bridge.
Was it physical? I thought it was a rotatable light bridge.
Yes.
Okay, so...
No, it was movable by a handle. Ava could move it via a lever, move it back and forward.
Right, and you could slide it with
because it was
camera.
only half the length of the corridor. Yeah, because it was half the length of the corridor. And then when you moved over to the camera, you could rotate it.
Okay, that's right. So you get in there, and there's like different spots that you have to get to that are lifted blocks, and there's rooms off to the side, and you're like, well, how am I going to do that? And you're sitting there and you're messing with things, and you can get to the first two pretty easily, and then it's just like, well, how do I get to the ones in the mid? Wait a minute. What if I slide it forward some and diagonal aim it? I can run and jump, and I'll make it to that corner, and then I can then run to the other side of the bridge, go to that corner on the other side, hop over, and be where I need to go. I wonder if that'll work. And then you do it, and it works, and you're like, fuck yeah.
I'm a genius.
I am a fucking genius.
That was, I think, the best puzzle in the game. And the final lap of that puzzle, too, was pretty cool because there was a second puzzle where you needed to be able to get past basically hit the elevator on time. And it took me a while to figure out, again, another outside-of-the-box solution to make that possible. And this is Berth where I'm going to criticize and congratulate the game, because those are the exact puzzles that I completely understand the Turing Test conceit of the game. Those are very human type of solutions, like where you aren't just, going with the obvious rigid constraints of the puzzle. You come up with something like a diagonal bridge that you've never seen before in any puzzle in the game.
Yeah.
The problem is most of the puzzles in the game really seem to be more like almost more like logic gate puzzles than anything else. Like putting two things in a door so they stay in the right sync so that their frequencies overlap and you can make it through that door, for instance. A lot of it felt like exactly the kind of thing a computer would have been very well built for.
I could see that. There was a puzzle towards the end. I don't know how you felt about it. It was my least favorite puzzle in the game. You go into the room and there's the big magnet. There's like a button on the side, but then in the middle of the room, there's a big pillar, and then it drops down, and there's that moving floor.
The rotating, conveyor belt.
Thank you, conveyor belt. I was gonna say, I kept wanting to say treadmill. I'm like, that's not right.
You're gonna call it the airplane treadmill, or airport.
The airport thing. Like, I did not like that puzzle because I felt stupid when I figured out what I was supposed to do. I
did like that puzzle for one thing, and I don't know if the way I did it is the only way to do it, but I thought it had a really cool thematic finish to it, which is that the only way I could figure out to make that puzzle work was to leave Ava on the conveyor belt and essentially make her part of a machine that operates on its own while the drone does the rest of the work.
Oh, okay. See, I think I dropped the block into the thing. Once I got the door open so I could get the robot into the room, I then took the block and dropped it in there. So when it would go by, it would block that. I think that's how I did it.
I tried that, but then you couldn't. But then you couldn't press the button because you didn't have any physical heavy objects left to press the big button.
Oh shit! Well then, fuck! I don't remember. I might have used Ava too. Hell, I don't remember. It's been a few days. But that I do agree though that bridge puzzle was probably the best puzzle in the game. It was just so satisfying.
I mean, I just thought that was it was the most. It felt the most like the outside of the box thing that Tom claims he's not allowed to do. Also, I did think there was a really interesting bit of dialogue early on in the game where this is still before you have any real suspicion of Tom, and you're talking to him about his limitations and stuff, and you're basically like, okay, so why aren't you allowed to act creatively? And he says, well, the way a robot acts creatively is that what we do is we iterate through every possible circumstance, like everything that could possibly work, we brute force it. So, that wouldn't have come to me for years, possibly. And then you ask him, okay, well, I know you're not supposed to, but can you try to act creatively and think of an answer to this puzzle? And he suggests, maybe you could tear your arm off and leave it on the pressure plate.
Yeah.
And one, obviously, that's supposed to be an unsatisfactory solution. He's not even trying to be funny. It's just he's demonstrating why he can't do it. But two, he did not require that much cajoling to try to do the thing he said he's incapable of doing.
Yeah, that's true. Tear your arm off. Surely you'll survive, Ava. So you start getting through the last puzzles, and you finally meet up with, I think her name was Sarah? Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah, Sarah.
And this is an interesting part of the game because you can just stop moving and the game will continue to move you. Like you're in a cutscene effectively at this point in engine. And you're walking down these halls and all the screens are saying all these different things, again, like possessed and all of that. And you get to the final area and Sarah comes walking up to you. She says, he's controlling you by a chip in your hand, and I have to remove it. And here's where I was thinking, I'm going to get a choice here.
Yeah, me too, actually.
And here's where I realized that this entire time we hadn't been playing as Ava. Because girl pops the chip out of your hand, or out of Ava's hand, and the camera goes, and you connect to a camera on the wall, and you're looking down on the two of them. And there's another instance in the game like this where you're following Ava watching her through cameras as she's walking. But in this one, she's walking with this Sarah chick, and it's cutting through, and Tom's like begging them to stop, and they're like, "No, we have to go shut Tom down, and then we're going home." And Tom's like, "I can't let you do that, Dave." Like, and
yeah, he might as well have said that.
And I think it's Sarah that says, "Be careful. He's got a machine gun thing up here."
He has a live weapon.
Yeah, live weapon. So I immediately am like,
which makes sense
ooh.
because there's a couple of puzzles earlier on in the game where it's barely used for anything, but there are a couple where you have a camera with a machine gun turret on it that you use to basically shoot down a large box. That happens twice in the rest of the game. But the first time it happened, I'm like, why on earth does this guy have access to a minigun?
Yeah, right? Just a minigun laser. Just and so you switch to this final camera, and it's got the gun on it, and you see Ava and Sarah walking into the room where the mainframe is at for Tom. And you have a choice. This is the choice of the game. Do you let them shut you down, or do you kill them? Before I tell you what I did, how did you go about this?
Gun.
I know you shot them. Like, did you let them like start to come into the room or anything?
Yes. When they started tearing stuff out of the wall and I started obviously taking damage, I'm like, I better act now. I was waiting to see if there was any more dialogue first. And it seemed like there was, but not enough that I was worried about it.
I had been thoroughly convinced that Sarah was out of her mind and that this was a terrible decision. So when I switched to that gun, as soon as they both were in the doorway, not even fully through it yet, I lit them both up and just left them laying there dead. And if you heard the beginning of this episode, it was foreshadowing, because the final words that you hear in the game are Ava, 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 wake up, Ava. Just a distressed Tom. It's bleak. It's a bleak ending either way, because now Tom, who is this artificial intelligence that you're not sure is sentient or not, is now doomed to just be in this station until his shit finally just gives way eventually and he corrupts and dies. Or he gets shut down, torn up, and they go and they take this organism back to Earth and possibly doom humanity. Or save it.
And I did watch both endings because thankfully the game lets you fast forward back to the epilogue. So you basically start right down that big last hallway. I did try the other way. And if you were with me in thinking that this guy is maybe jockeying Hal Stees a little bit too hard on some of these parts, at one point towards the end, he literally is like, "I'm afraid. I don't want to die." He doesn't sing Daisy Daisy, which I was literally thinking, if he does that, I'm going to rip this game apart on the show, even though I liked it as a puzzle game. It didn't go that far, but I will say that I think that the game was better as a sci-fi story than a shocking ending, and I don't think it actually had a whole lot of new things to say about the themes, just that it wanted to think about them a lot.
Yeah, and I was a little upset when I realized that either way you end the game, it tells you congratulations, you've passed the Turing test.
It would have been interesting if there was a correct answer somehow.
Yeah, if there was a fail state, like if you did something and it failed you failed the Turing test. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. But dude, interesting little experience, man. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on about it before we give it a rating?
I'm just of a couple minds of it. I think that the writing wasn't bad. They clearly were pretty researched on this. Like you said, it was inspired by the Talos Principle, which is also a game that had a lot of research in the writing and a lot of beautiful writing. And I thought that this game was really good at the, audio logs and hidden or left behind notes type of storytelling, which not always works. I thought it did a good job with that. But yeah, I don't think it had anything new to say about it. And the problem is it spends so much time quoting more, the initial experiments, the initial thought projects, the initial scientists that have thought about it. All I could think is smarter people have already thought about this, and all you're doing is telling us that happened. On the other hand, if this was a thought that wasn't on your radar before and it made you think about the ideas in it, that's, I can't say that that's a bad thing. And maybe that was more their aim than trying to make a big statement on it. Because the Lord knows the one thing you don't want to do is go into David Cage territory of trying to make a statement and just looking like a jackass. And
while I'm thinking about it, one thing we haven't touched on that I would like to give them credit for is that, especially for being like a little indie title from 2016, this game looked really good.
I think it uses the same basic tricks as Portal. The fact that you're in a lab for pretty much the whole game makes it look good. But then I'm not quite fair, because there was a segment where you actually are under the surface of Europa, and I thought that looked really nice. It looked cold and distant and ominous, and you were on an ice moon that was not close to safe, that was being scienced up a little bit.
And they, I think they did lighting well. Like, it was good.
Yeah.
And every time I opened this game, it tried to connect to my VR headset, so I'm assuming there's a VR version of it.
It seems like it would be satisfying to play in VR, because again, it's got that Portal type of physics puzzle game to it.
For sure. Well then,
I need to say one more thing. This is totally not really it's super unfair to the character, but there's a scene where you control the camera, just so you're Tom, and you can move the bridges of elevators up and down for Ava so she can get up the thing. And when you move it really hard, she like really has a bad experience with, like, she winces and kind of, you know, drops her head and looks like almost like she's about to fall down. And I'm like, man, Tom, you're such a jerk. But that was me. I was the one that pulled the trigger that made it move that fast. I could have gently lifted her up. I'm the butthole.
It's me.
Just me all along.
It's me. My name's Chris. I did all the heroin. That's a deep cut.
Yeah, that one's past me, man. I was just gonna do it was me, Austin.
It was me, Austin. It was me all along. No, quick summary. A buddy of mine, we did some acid one time, and we convinced him that he didn't take acid and that his name was actually Chris and that he did all the heroin and didn't leave any for anyone else. And
that is so
he eventually was like, I'm Chris. I did all the H. That's what he said.
That is irresponsible, but really funny.
It was a good time, dude. I mean, we eventually told him that, nah, man, we were just kidding. And he, because he was on drugs, laughed and laughed and laughed for like 30 minutes because he's like, I can't believe you got me. And just kept laughing like it was so funny. Like that was a good night. Oh, man.
Fun times.
So what would you rate this game, my good sir?
Man, I've been struggling because I feel like I came out a little bit critical about some of the elements of the game. I want to say I thought it was a nice puzzle game. I thought it was really easy compared to the other puzzle games we've played for the show, like Portal 2, Talos Principle. Even, like, I think I struggled more with puzzles in Unfinished Swan, which is literally a child game.
That's fair.
But I don't think that was to its detriment, because I also think that when I felt like it was very satisfying. The puzzles felt very good to complete. And just because I'm saying that I don't think that the writing had a lot to say, it doesn't mean I don't think it was pretty good writing. I just think it was better as a sci-fi story. Like, think of it as an episode of The Twilight Zone instead of something like Talos Principle that's trying to tell you something.
Yeah.
And, you know, it has about as much of a moral as an episode of The Twilight Zone. Yes, but it's not going to change your life.
It's a good comparison.
I didn't actually even think about that until I just started saying it. And I'm like, oh yeah, Twilight Zone. I feel very proud of that one myself because that was off the cuff. That was not a pre-thought-up thought. I don't know, man. It's hard for me to numerically score this game because I feel like the temptation I have is when we play really good puzzle games, they feel so deep and meaningful that I want to give them approaching perfect scores. And I don't think that's really what level this game was on. But it's a really good puzzle game in its own right, and I think anyone would enjoy playing it. I only maybe kind of wish it was a little bit less melancholy in tone just because the actual puzzle solving feels so good and I almost wish it had been in a happier game instead.
I can see that. It was a very bleak experience story-wise.
Yeah. I mean, it had its humorous moments, and I did think that, like I said, the characters were written really, you know, interestingly and well, and the logs and stuff were cool. I don't really have a great number, so I'm going to give it one of those numbers that says I didn't think about this as hard as I should have, and call it 7 3/4 fuse boxes out of 10 power slots.
All right. I thought it was a good game. It was fun. As you said, the puzzles were satisfying to complete. I thought it told, while kind of a cliche story, I thought it did what it was trying to do well.
I don't necessarily even think it was a cliche. I just think that a game that's obviously living in the wake of Talos Principle probably needs to do something beyond what Talos Principle did.
Yeah, that's fair. And some of the things in the game were a bit on the nose, like the character's name being Ava Turing.
I almost wish you would have had a real action movie type moment like, my name's Ava Turing. Don't test me.
Hell yes. That reminds me of, I don't know why this made me think of this, but somebody was talking about the John Cena Cody Rhodes match. They were like, do I want this to be a good match? No. I want it to be an overbooked, insane spectacle that people talk about for the next 10 fucking years. I don't want them to go out there and have a good match. I want it to just be ridiculous pro wrestling. And yeah, let's see. Number...
I really pulled a number out of my ass. If you asked me this at any other time of day, I probably would have varied a good amount.
No, I mean,
I think it probably would have been somewhere in the 7s for me.
When you were giving your spiel, I was thinking about what I would give it, and before you even said your number, I came upon, I think I'm going to give it a solid 7.5 Avas out of 10 Toms. It's not going to like blow your pants off, but you're not going to regret playing through it because the puzzles are fun.
It's a good way to spend 6 hours and feel really good about your puzzle solving skills, along with feeling really stupid when you miss really obvious mechanics from time to time.
Yeah. And this game goes on sale for stupid cheap pretty often. So that.
And I feel like very few of the rooms overstay their welcome too. They're all pretty clean and quick puzzles.
Yeah.
Without having that feeling of that the first Portal did, where everything felt like a tutorial to the final puzzle.
To the point that there were a couple puzzles that I felt like even had red herrings, where it's like you didn't have to do everything that you seemed like to get through.
Oh, that's one of the things I wanted to say about this game being easy, actually, is there were so many times where I made sure to preserve one extra blue orb just to make sure I would have it for the next part of the puzzle, and then be absolutely shocked that the exit room was ahead.
Yeah.
Like, Talos Principle would not have done that for you. You would have had to use every piece of the buffalo.
Yeah, there was a handful of times that I had one in the gun as I ran through the next hallway, and it would disapparate.
Yeah.
Well, all right, man. That is the Talos Principle. We're going to be back in 2 weeks talking about Octopath Traveler. Willie, here at the end, my good sir, is there anything you would like to plug?
Man, I don't know. Like I said earlier, if you're interested in joining a truck simulator group, I mean, talk to Sour Gears on our Discord chat. He's a pretty cool guy. He's very, very enthusiastic, but pretty chill. And it seems like really eager to get people up. Let's see, what else do I want to plug? I had something else. I want to plug the Atari 5200 controller for being the worst thing I've ever seen.
All right.
It's such a funny controller that it makes every other controller look good by comparison. All y'all out there ragging on GameCube and N64 controllers, it could have been worse.
It could have been that big Sega monstrosity too that came out that was like this big.
Oh, the Saturn 3D pad, yeah.
Fucking hell.
32-bit era equivalent of the Xbox Duke, except I don't think anyone really fondly remembers it.
I was going to say, I like the Duke because I got big hands, but like that Sega controller was just oddly shaped.
No, there has been waves of appreciation for the Duke in retrospect, and I got to give it up to the people the big hands crew who love it, and just the people that are nostalgic for it feeling different from smaller controllers. So, I ain't hating on the Duke, I'm just making a comparison. Xbox is huge.
All right then, man. If you would, go leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts at. Specifically, iTunes and Spotify helps us out a lot in the algorithm, helps new people find the show, and that always helps because we're terrible at self-promotion. You want to join the Discord? That's where all the cool stuff happens, and you can vote on the polls to get a game that you want to play, or that you see on the poll and you want us to play it. Vote for it. We might win, and then we'll talk about it.
Unless you vote for Laser Disco Defenders, which didn't work on Dalton's controller, and we probably should have mentioned that during this episode.
Oh, yeah. Fuck that game. Yeah.
I didn't ever end up giving it a try because you asked if we could pivot to the next short game before I even actually tried opening it up.
Yeah, so long story short, listeners, it didn't work with my controller, and the keyboard mouse controllers for that game, not great. So I was like, nah.
Seemed like a fun idea, but I'm sad it didn't recognize any of your controllers.
Yeah, that was weird because I have a Razer controller and 2 Xbox controllers, so I don't know why I didn't recognize them, but I don't know.
Oh, I also use a generic Xbox controller, so mine probably wouldn't have worked either. That's sad.
Yeah, come join the Discord, bit.ly/TSMP Discord, all capital letters. That'll get you an invite. Come and join the shenanigans. You want to check out the website, kept up to date by Dane, bit.ly/The Steam Machine Podcast, capitalized phonetically. Would you like to support the show? It means a lot to us. Patreon.com/The Steam Machine Podcast. $1 or more a month gets you the episodes early. And you get the beginnings little banter that is just for the Patreon section. And if you donate $10 or more, you get your name read on each and every episode, like these wonderful people. Nate Sir Cogsworth, the 7th of June-iper, Jeff, the original Expendable, Mr. Syllables, Old Jeffy Lube, Ariesoradam, shout out to his podcast, Spectre Approved, Team Retrogue, go check him out over on YouTube, Mr. Puzzles, Dane himself, Flyin, Brian, Doran Gray, the RPG Wolverine, Logan Joreid, and the Dankest. Thank you very much, gentlemen. You all rock.
Boy, I saw your brain trying to autopilot through the podcast name and almost give the old one.
Yeah, it's because I have the old one written down and I need to change it. So I'm gonna change that after we're done here. Shout out to JRPG Report.
Well, good catch.
Thank you, sir. Shout out JRPG Report. Shout out Grumpy Jeff's Pro Wrestling Power Hour. Get a shirt, tsmpproductions.threadless.com. That's about it. We'll be back in... one more thing with the Patreon.
Did we start really, really late, or was this just a short one?
We started real late.
Oh. Okay, I was gonna say because it doesn't seem like we should only have an hour and 45 minutes at 2:30 in the morning, but I guess we did end up.
No, yeah, we started a late one this time. One other thing I wanted to plug about the Patreon. It doesn't happen super often, but because it happened with Octopath Traveler 2, I feel the need to plug it. If you donate $20 or more, you can look through the list of games that we have on our backlog list, and you can choose one and bump it up to the front, and then you can guest with us if you have the means and timing lines up and all of that good jazz.
And if you're cool.
And if you're cool, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you're cool if you want to give us money, but what am I thinking?
But yeah, we love you all. We'll be back in 2 weeks to talk about some Octopath Traveler 2. And then after that, who knows? We'll see. Man, I keep wanting to end this show like I do the JRPG report and tell everybody to get back out there and level up because that's such a good ending that James came up with. But instead, I'm going to say, everybody, take it easy.